Good morning, and good morning, and good morning. I got people everywhere. Some of them I can see, some of them I can't. All right, we're going to get started right off the bat with our first two community songs. I'm going to turn it over to the musicians. Here we go.
Welcome to the sun. Quiet vacation. We've been here all along. But don't you worry. Say what's your hurry? Tune into the rhythm of creation song. All vibration, there's music everywhere. Circulation, this thing you get your share. We live with it, right now and every minute. Living in the rhythm of creation song. What about anger? And what about fear? And all the difficulties available here. And what about hatred? That evil twin of the love we had when we came in. Trial and tribulation makes me shiver around. War and escalation. Can't stop what the light. Creation keeps on singing its love song. Rhythm, the rhythm of creation song. We're in the choir, for he created fire. Creation song. The song is never finished, or even after minutes. Living in the rhythm of creation song. Living in the rhythm of creation song. Good morning. I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm
Good morning again. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. I want to welcome everybody joining us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Zoom, and here in the room. And if I'm understanding correctly, that first song you just wrote this past week, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the inspiration of being the music director and doing other folks' music, and it inspired Jeff to write his own. And how cool is that? It's a brilliant song. Thank you. So one of the things that I get to do every Sunday morning is remind us of who we are and share with those of you who are joining us for the first time who we are. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures, and we intentionally promote our community and our teachings. And one of the things that we do to put our inclusivity into practice is our candle lighting ritual that we do every Sunday morning. And so I'm going to ask our board president, Marilyn Gale, if she'll join me to light the candles. Ooh, you got it. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. And we light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. And we light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. Thank you, Marilyn. So now I'm going to turn it back over to the musicians for our next community song. Here we go.
And as Ray said, the first song just had its debut. Now we go to a song. I was just trying to do the math. I think I learned this song. It was 55 years ago or something. It's familiar. You all. It's
So this is our time of announcements. We are open. We have been open continuously since June 15th-ish. And we have a communication system that we've put in place with our beads. If you want folks to still stay 6 feet away from you and to not touch you, you can wear a red strand of beads, and that communicates that. If you're figuring it out one person at a time, or, as I've been informed, some people match their beads with their wardrobe. I've only got 3 choices, folks. I can only go so deep. You can wear a yellow strand, and that communicates to other folks to check in with you before they approach you. And if you're good with close proximity and handshakes and hugs, you can wear a green strand of beads, and that communicates that. If you want to establish some space beside you in the room, we have seat savers. You can grab one and plop it on either side of you. That creates a little bit of space for you. We do ask if you have symptoms or if you are sick, that you take care of yourself and stay home. Because while we want to share almost everything in spiritual community, we don't want to share communicable diseases in community. And that's one of the things that we've actually learned from COVID, if we choose to, is that perhaps when we don't feel well, the best approach is to stay home and care for ourselves rather than pushing ourselves beyond what our body is communicating it wants to do. If after you've been here over the next week you happen to test positive or you know that you've been exposed, please reach out and let me know so that I can do my due diligence in terms of contact tracing. Because while things are better, it hasn't gone away yet. So we still want to live in harmony with it as best we can. Okay. Walking with the Rev. This is a delightful time, and we've been doing it long enough now that I've got some regulars, and it's a sweet time where we just connect with one another. We meet up at the parking lot at North Star Mine at the corner of Freeman and Allison Ranch Road. At 10 o'clock, we start walking one direction. We walk for 30 minutes, and when the alarm goes off, we turn around and walk back. We go as fast as the slowest mobility in the group so that we can be inclusive and so nobody feels like it's not a fitness camp, it's not a boot camp, it's not a race. It's just a time where we just walk and talk and enjoy nature and spot new things. And so that happens Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So if you want to come walk, I'll see you there. We have some Science of Mind crossword puzzles. It's a fun way to learn the concepts of Science of Mind. I created 45 crossword puzzles using the glossary in The Science of Mind, A Philosophy of Faith, A Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. There are, let's see, what do my notes tell me that I did? It's been a while. There are 22 puzzles because there are 22 letters of the alphabet used in the glossary. So I made one puzzle for every letter of the alphabet that contains all of those. And then I did 23 randomized puzzles. So if you want to really challenge yourself after you go through those alphabet ones to see what's stuck, you can play with the random ones. You can get the whole alphabet set for $35. You can get the random set for $35. You can get all 45 of them for $50. Or you can just order one of them for 10 cents a word. So that's going to vary, and they're all detailed out on our Square store, and so you can pick and choose what you want. For those of you watching live stream wise, if you're not affiliated with this center and you purchase those, put in the notes at checkout what center you're actually affiliated with, and we will tithe 10% of your purchase back to your center of affiliation, so that we're also learning and participating in the law of circulation all at the same time. Okay. First Friday fun. May 6th, we have Love Eternal will be our guest for that First Friday fun evening. They will be doing a sit-down concert, spoken word, interwoven spiritual message with music, and then afterwards a dance. I have been made aware that Deborah bought prizes. I'm not at liberty to share with you what those are, but they are fun, I will tell you that, for the dance portion of the evening. You're invited to bring your dinner because we recognize this happens at dinner time. We'll have some tables set up. You can bring your dinner, come enjoy your meal while you're enjoying the concert part. Once that's over, we'll move some chairs and make some space to dance. We do have some light snacks and refreshments available for purchase. So plan ahead. Friday, June 3rd, our music director, Jeff Wright, will be presenting an evening of music and spoken word. And then on July 1st, our board president, Marilyn Gale, will be presenting an evening of interactive music. And if you want more details, you'll have to talk to them because I don't have any more details to give you. Okay. May 21st, Julia Robles Scott graduates from ministerial school. That graduation, that is happening at the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living in, you guessed it, Napa. That is at 2 o'clock. Now, if you can't make that, please make it the next day. Because May 22nd, right here, Sunday morning, we're going to have a very different Sunday morning service. We will be installing Reverend Julia as a staff minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living, and there will be some different types of celebrations happening, and she will be bringing us the message on Sunday. So that weekend is really we're going to celebrate the bejabbers out of Julia Day. The whole weekend. So I hope you will join us. We will also be having our first post-COVID potluck on the 22nd. So hope you'll join us. Hope you'll bring something. We will provide cake, so bring food dishes, not dessert dishes, because we got the dessert part covered. Okay. Now this, I got to take a minute to explain this. I participated in this thing called America Talks, which was a pretty random thing where it's a nationwide, it actually may even be international, but I think it was just American citizens. You register for these online conversations with total strangers. And you could do two options. You could do a one-on-one conversation, or you could do a small group conversation. And being the radically inclusive dude I am, I picked both on different days. So in the small group conversation, what are the odds that one of the people in the group is actually a woman of Asian diaspora from Rockland who is, feeling isolated and alone. And so we had a beautiful connection. And so she sent me this May 7th, Saturday, May 7th. There is a Chinatown Rockland celebration. It will be in the newsletter. I encourage us all to go. Let's put this diversity thing into action and go see what other folks are doing. It's a short thing. It's only a couple of hours. But I, for one, am going to go and check it out. So it's a divine connection. Okay. Time to shift. This is our inward shift time. Our community value this morning is integrity. And one of the things that I have learned as a minister is that words have a gazillion meanings in the English language. I mean, when I was looking up stuff for the talk, it's like nobody can agree on what a word means, which is really interesting to me. It's like these are supposed to be the foundation of our communication, but we don't even have integrity about integrity. We have a lot, integrity can mean wholeness. For some folks, integrity means honesty. For some folks, integrity means an honesty that protects myself but doesn't tell you the whole truth, right? And so for me, spiritually speaking, I think we would do well to hold the idea of integrity as integral to, a necessary part of. Because that's the oneness and that's the wholeness that we teach. And so everybody is an integral part. And so the integrity of wholeness demands the recognition and the connection with every part of the whole. And so let's take that into our meditation. How do we actively, consciously, intentionally embrace every element?
In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough
so breathing in, I recognize, I recognize, I know again that there is one life. That this one life, by whatever name I know it, is all there is. That it is integrity, because it is the whole. And everything contained within it is itself expressing, impossible to separate. And so all life must be integral to it. It lives, moves, and has its being in integrity with itself, with the wholeness of itself. It creates out of itself, by itself, to be itself. And being created out of it, by it, to be it, I know that I am it. That the very essence of me is the essence of this one. And so all that it is empowered with, I am empowered with. And what is true of me is true of all life. Every expression of this infinite one, fully empowered with all that it is. Fully infused with every drop of intelligence, of love, of life, of peace, of power. That more than being present, it is presence. That more than being intelligent, it is intelligence. So all that it is, we are. So I speak my word this morning, claiming and affirming a realization, an experience being made real in each of us, that we know because we cannot not know that we are that. That this time of coming together is a time of coming together to remember the truth of our being. To know again the magnificence that we each are. To know it in ourselves, to know it in one another. And so I call this time holy. I call it blessed. I speak a word of gratitude for every heart, every hand that has made it what it is this morning. I speak a word of blessing for all who are joining us by whatever means they're joining us, even if it's later. It's still now. And so I celebrate that. And knowing that it is already complete, knowing that everything that needs to be said is said, everything that needs to be heard is heard. That it's already done perfectly, and we are simply bearing witness to that as it unfolds. I let go with absolute trust that it's already done. And I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is. This is our time of affirmation. I will read it through once and then invite you to read it with me. I am blessed and grateful for all my emotions and feelings. And yes, I added a word. Let's say that together. I am blessed and grateful for all my emotions and feelings. And so it is.
slip, you might slide, you might stumble and fall by the roadside. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down.
Don't let nobody drag your spirit down.
Remember we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around. Walk with the rich, walk with the poor. Learn from everyone, that's what life is for. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down.
Don't let nobody drag your spirit down.
Remember we're walking here in heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around.
Some say yes, some say no. Some like to wait and see which way the wind blows. But don't you ever let nobody drag your spirit down.
Nobody drag your spirit down.
Remember you're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you round.
I might say things that sound strange to you. Might say peace is possible 'cause I believe it's true.
Oh yes I do.
Don't let everybody drag your spirit
Let
down.
nobody drag your spirit down.
Remember we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around.
No, no, no.
You might slip,
You might slide,
you might stumble and fall by the roadside. But don't let nobody drag your spirit down.
don't let nobody drag your spirit down.
Remember we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around. Remember we're walking up to heaven. Don't let nobody turn you around.
Good morning again. So our talk title this morning is What's on Your Spice Rack? Dust? Crumbs? Sometimes there's spices. Our monthly theme for May is Living Everyday Wonder as Emotions. And I have to laugh because if you do any research at all, you will be more confused when you're done than when you started. I'll just tell you. Because there seems to be this plethora of ideas about what emotions are versus what feelings are. And depending on which article you read, they will actually say the opposite of each other. Right? Feeling, if we're talking physical feelings, are very different than feelings that come from our thoughts about whatever we're sensing. And so I think to even navigate this whole realm, we kind of got to go into it with at least a temporary understanding, if you will, an agreement of what the heck are we actually talking about. So first of all, let's dispense of the physical feeling part, because that one's easy, right? I can feel that. Right? If I tug on my ear, I feel that. You know, a month ago when I plowed my forehead through the gravel parking lot, I felt that. There was no confusion about what I was feeling on the physical plane. It's when we get to the non-physical plane that we get confused. Psychology today says that the difference is emotion is the raw data that our physiology gives us, and that the feelings are based on what we tell ourselves about that raw data. Okay? Now, I can get next to that. Emotions at the physiological level, they're done. They literally, seconds, and they have run their course. Now, how different would our lives be if we just leaned into the physiology of emotions and we recognized that we're having one and we allowed it to run its course and be done? I don't know about you, but I'd have a lot more free time. Because I spend a whole, why am I feeling that? Why did that come up? Oh my God, what does this mean? It means I'm a human being and I had an emotion. Now, sometimes they're not even really related to anything that is happening in my immediate physical environment. We are energy pods, right? Our whole being is energy. And so when energy interacts with energy, you're going to sense that, right? You ever just been sitting there and all of a sudden you feel a shift of energy and you can't really put your finger on anything that just happened, right? It's because we are energy surrounded by energy. And let's go back to this integrity thing. There's no separation in the integrity of energy. And so when we do this, energy everywhere just moved. So might it make sense in the truth of oneness, in the truth of wholeness, that we're all kind of subjected to energy shifts that have nothing to do with our individualized experience, but maybe somebody else's? And something moved in them, so something moved in us. And maybe we can just be with it and go, okay, and move on. See, that little thing right there has saved me a lot of time and stress. Okay. It really, unless it's something that is persistent, perhaps we don't need to glom onto it and dissect it and take it apart, because we won't do it accurately. You know that, right? The minute we start dissecting it, we're not dissecting what we actually felt anymore. What we're really doing is infusing it with our projections of what we think it is, or what it should be, or what we're afraid it might be. And we're not dissecting anything. We're rearranging everything to match the expectation of our belief system. Right? Emotions happen. Literally, emotion means to move. Emote is to move. And so things are going to move inside of you. Great. That just means you're alive. Right? But I think sometimes we're so afraid of our feelings, we're so afraid of our emotions, that we shut them down and we ignore them and we refuse to be aware that we even have them, because we've decided that they're bad, wrong, and negative. I was talking with somebody a while ago, we were talking about the war in Ukraine, and they made the statement that they just can't let themselves grieve any of this stuff. And my question to them was, how can you not grieve it? How can you not let yourself be in grief about what's happening? And long conversation short, the belief that was operating is that grief equals hopelessness. Perhaps that's the incorrect premise that's causing all the problems with stuck emotions. Is that they're bad. I just want to feel happy. Right? How many of us are guilty of that? I just want to feel the good emotions. Right? We all go through that. So I invite you first and foremost, rewrite your shouldapedia about emotions and feelings. That if you weren't supposed to have them, you won't. Right? They're part of our human experience. And they're valuable because they give us information. So if we just go with emotions as raw data doesn't have a position. Right? Raw data is not good or bad. It's just information. And so when your physiology informs you that it's experiencing something, I invite you to simply start with, okay. Acknowledge that you're experiencing it. And then pay attention to what you're telling yourself after that. Most of us, my experience, let me own this. My experience is that most of us wouldn't know a feeling if it bit us in the rear end. Right? Because you ask people, well, what are you feeling? Pay attention. Well, it feels like they blah, 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 blah. That is not a feeling. That is a string of thoughts projected about another human being started with the word feeling. But there's no feelings in that. I feel like they don't like me. That's not a feeling. That's a thought. I think they don't like me. Right? And so when we think somebody doesn't like us, now you're getting to the feeling. What do you feel when you think somebody doesn't like you? Well, depends. Sometimes you feel sad. Sometimes you really don't care and you don't feel anything. Sometimes you might even feel celebration that so-and-so doesn't like you because you really don't like them either if you're telling the truth. Right? But pay attention to the order of things. I teach this in the creative process. Thoughts, feelings, urges, action. Because that's how our feelings work. Our emotions signal us that there's been an energetic shift. It's just raw data. Now what do we do with it? We have a thought about it. Based on that thought, we will have a feeling. Based on that feeling, we will have an urge to do something. And we will either act on that urge or not. Right? Thoughts, feelings, urges, action. It's really that simple. And if your urge is to cry, cry. If your urge is appropriate to the situation, follow it out. If your urge is to do something that's out of integrity, stop. Backtrack. What's my thought? Because your thought is driving that urge through your feelings. You know, last night, I stumbled upon the information about Naomi Judd. And I don't even know why it moves me that Naomi Judd is no longer on the planet with us. By everything I've read, it appears as though she chose to leave. But I was very aware that unlike many celebrities who have come and gone, this one I had some emotion about. I had some tears. It's not like I know the woman, because I don't. Right? Now, I can quickly dismiss it, or I can just lean into what's really happening here. What's my body informing me of? And as best I can understand it in this moment, it's a connection that the pain and her depression and her anxiety that she has lived with for most of her life is connected to sexual abuse. And that's a point where even though we've never met, we share a common ground. And maybe it's that. Or maybe I'm just hungry. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't have to know. But I think, the whole reason for bringing it up, folks, is just to give you an example of you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to. You can simply lean into the experience. Pay attention to what you're telling yourself and move through it, embracing every emotion and every feeling as equally holy, even if they don't feel good. Grief doesn't feel good. Sadness doesn't feel good. It doesn't make it less valuable, and it certainly doesn't make it less appropriate. And so I invite you, as we move through this whole month looking at our emotions, what's on your spice rack? Have you thrown out all of the spices that you've decided are bad? Because they're still there. We can't eliminate them from our human experience. But what we can do is learn to use them to flavor our experience and not make it bad. We can try new flavors. We can try new combinations. You can actually, we do sweet and savory in the same dish. You can actually do sad and happy at the same time. You can do grief and joy at the same time. You can have peace and be in great turmoil all at the same time. Both can go in the same dish if we will allow it. Let's take this into prayer. And so what I know by resonance is that this human form that the divine is expressing as is built perfectly to be exactly what it is here to be. An adventure of the divine to know itself, to fully experience itself, to expand itself as human experience. And yet, to be fully spiritual at the same time. And so I know that all of humanity is infused with the perfection and the power and the brilliance of creation. I know that part of that brilliance, part of that power, part of that awe and wonder is the physiology, the biology, and the psychology of emotions and feelings. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that within us is infinite guidance, infinite intelligence to know, to lean into, to fully embrace and embody the totality of every emotion we have. That within us is the authority and the willingness and the ability to respond to the thoughts we have about our emotions, that we are empowered to change the narrative anytime we choose. And as we do, we change our experience. That there is so much truth in change our thinking, change our life. That we no longer need to eliminate or ignore or bypass or run away from any element of our experience. And instead, we wrap ourselves in awe and wonder. That we simply lean in with the question, what else is here? What else is here that I'm not seeing? Show me. And as we do, the very infiniteness that created us responds to inform us, always moving us to a greater experience of our wholeness. I cherish every messy moment. And I speak my word that every human is awakening to the preciousness of every messy moment. And as we allow our own messiness, we allow for one another's messiness. And we meet each other in that place of awe and wonder and love and hearts open without restriction. That we see the glory and wonder of one another beyond any words. And we simply be presence with one another. Grateful. Grateful that whatever this magnificent one is, knows exactly what it's doing. Grateful that the operation of law can only say yes, and it's already said yes. And so I know it is happening. It is being fulfilled in me, just as it is in everyone else. And so I lean into a greater experience with gratitude and awe and wonder and expectancy. I invite you into the vulnerability of yes, as we say together, and so it is. So we're going to really dive in over the next couple of weeks and take these things apart. I just wanted to get us on at least a shared foundational understanding of the difference in what it is we're actually talking about. So, this is our time of conscious giving. I have to get my brain backwards because on that monitor my head was missing. So I invite you, if you are joining us online, I invite you to go to our website, www.sierracenter.org/donate, to give as freely as you have been given to this morning. We're going to pass the basket here in the room. Let's say our prosperity affirmation together, shall we? Here we go. I give this gift with love and joy, with a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Ushers, please receive the gifts. So I speak a word of blessing, a word of gratitude for the infinite as money, knowing that it sustains us, that it grows us, that it empowers us to do good work in the world as we give through Sierra Center. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, musicians. You're welcome. Awesome job this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the light bulb gods that actually had the light bulbs that we needed to replace our stage lights, and now we can actually see what we're doing up in here. Thank you, Juanita, for all that you do behind the scenes. Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn Gale, for being our greeter and usher this morning. Thank you, Hillary, for being our PowerPoint person this morning. Thank you, Jill and Carl, for our beautiful orchid this morning. And thank each of you, because this is way more fun with you here and there than without you. I think that's it. Just a quick reminder, Friday, we have our first Friday fun with Love Eternal. They're going to be awesome because they always are. And Saturday, shoot on down to Rockland and let's see what's happening in Rockland, Chinatown. All right. All that information will be in the newsletter. Let's make this happen. Let's get this community up and rolling, shall we? All right. Here we go. Oh, the benediction. Thank you. See, I love those blank stares like you forgot something because you're getting that look.
Well, and I had the senior stare in that I couldn't remember if you had just done it. And
Well, it's a good thing we take things real serious around here, isn't it? All right, let's stand and do our benediction so that we know what's going on. Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
Something wonderful is happening as me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called emotion.
It is this thing called emotion.
It is this thing called feelings.
It is this thing called feeling.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I sense it.
I sense it.
Because I am it.
Because I am it.
And so it is. Now we're going to sing.
Yes,